Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Aubrielle, your host for Divine Love in Living, where we shift from living in lack to living in love. In today's video, I'd like to talk about meditation. And we will talk about this first from the lack mindset, the ego mind mentality, and then shift into the love mindset and see how that can help create a simple shift that may be an absolute game changer for your meditative practice, or even just the ability to really enjoy meditation. So we'll start with the lack mindset. Oftentimes, meditation is viewed as sitting and quieting the mind so that we can be present and we can feel more peace and calm and not experience as much inner chaos or turmoil with something that we may be working with. However, the ego is very sneaky here, because what can happen very easily when we're living life through an ego mindset, a lack mindset, is that we're seeing ourselves as lacking peace or lacking calm or even lacking a sense of stillness. Perhaps we feel like we're lacking a quiet mind, whatever it is we think we don't have. And then the ego mind says, now I need to meditate in order to have that. So we go into meditation from a mindset that actually blocks our ability to really connect with meditating, which is kind of interesting. So it becomes a catch-22. We're actually not in alignment. We're not in vibrational harmony with what we're attempting to do. If we're saying, I'm going to sit and meditate and quiet my mind and be peaceful, however, we're doing it because we're internally believing that we lack those things, then we're projecting the energy of lack. We're projecting out to the universe at large. I am lacking inner peace. I'm lacking stillness and a quiet mind. And so when we sit to meditate, all we're going to experience is a loud mind and a lot of inner chaos, because that's the mindset we're in, which means that's also the energy that we're coming into a meditative practice with. So now I'd like to shift into the love mindset, which is also an abundance mindset. This is a mindset that allows inclusion and integration and everything to come together, and allows the space for that internal vibrational harmony with what we would like to be experiencing. So from a love mindset, meditation is simply just an invitation to give ourselves time and attention. It's an opportunity to tune in to our inner world as opposed to being focused and run by what's happening in our outer world. So when you sit to meditate with a love perspective, you're coming into a space where you get to experience who you are, which is peaceful, which is calm. So it's I am peaceful, I am calm, I am still, and my mind is quiet. And now from that perspective, we're able to connect with that space and be in that energy. Now, please keep in mind, we are very conditioned and programmed to live in chaos and to function through the ego mind, not through a love mindset or unity consciousness. Some people refer to it as Christ consciousness. Because we're not programmed and conditioned to operate through that, even though we may say the words, I am peaceful, I am calm, I am still, and then sit and meditate, connecting with that space, we will likely still experience some pushback and some resistance, just because for the most part, we're not living our lives through a meditative state where we are peaceful and we are calm. We're living our lives through chaos and running to this thing, taking care of that thing, making sure to be on top of this and not forget that, and make sure that this does happen, make sure that this doesn't happen. So to come into that space takes a little bit of shifting and readjusting. However, as promised in the title for this movie, I want to give you guys a hack, a very simple shift you can do when you're sitting to meditate that will make your meditative practice become easy. You don't have to get rid of the chaos. You don't have to get rid of the lack of peace or the lack of inner calm that the mind may perceive to be true. It's not true, but it may be what the mind believes to be true. So here's what you can do. When you sit to meditate, imagine that you're sitting in the middle of a train station. Now, this train station has trains that run on all different levels in all different directions. However, there's this one center seat. There's this one central hub, a space, this circular space that you're able to sit in and be in this meditation. So imagine yourself sitting in that seat. We'll call this the seat of the soul. It can be considered the seat of sovereignty. And imagine these trains whizzing by all around you, and you're in that center seat. Now, here's the thing. You don't stop the trains. It's not your job to slow the trains down. It's not your job to stop the trains. You also want to be aware of when you jump on a train of thought. So these trains are all trains of thought that are running through our mind at all times. It's not about stopping the trains. And that's that common misperception with meditation. The way the ego mind views meditation is, okay, I'm going to sit in this center seat of this train station and I'm going to slow down all the trains and make them stop so that everything comes to a standstill. And now I will feel peace and calm and connected. And that's actually not the goal. The goal is to allow all of these trains of thought to keep whizzing by, buzzing by, moving. They're in constant motion. But you're in that center seat. You are the observer of all of the trains. You're not the conductor that's on each train. You're not a passenger that's on any of the trains. You're just the one sitting in the train station, watching it all go by, witnessing all of it. Now, as you're sitting and witnessing it, you get to become aware. What do these trains look like? How do they feel? Maybe you can start to open up space for more awareness. Where are they coming from? Where are they going to? But you can observe all of this without actually getting on the train. And when you realize you've accidentally, unconsciously, jumped on one of these trains of thought and started following it wherever it was going, maybe you've caught yourself in a mental loop, maybe you've caught yourself thinking about the next thing you need to do or something that happened earlier in the day, realize, oh, I'm on a train of thought, and just teleport yourself back to that center seat. And train yourself. There's no pun intended with that word, but you're training yourself to be able to sit in that center seat and be the observer. That's really all that meditation is meant to do, is allow you to shift out of the ego mind and into that mindset of love and abundance and peace. It's allowing you to sit in that seat of the soul, which is unconditional. You don't need the trains to stop. You don't need them to change. You don't need them to slow down. You don't need anything to happen with the trains. Your only task is to just observe them. and allow them to be. And that's what meditation is designed to help us do, to shift from that being on those trains of thought and being pulled in all these different directions and feeling like we're going fast here, or maybe we're stuck in a jam somewhere else, but it takes us off the trains and puts us back in that seat of sovereignty, because that's who we truly are. Now, here's the cool thing. Once you've trained yourself to be the observer and to be able to really just sit in that spot, and you start to develop a really, really fine-tuned awareness for when you're on a train of thought versus when you're sitting in the seat. Once you've developed that, we'll call it spiritual muscle, energetic muscle, whatever works for you. But once you've strengthened that ability, now you get to choose which train you want to jump on. You get to choose if you even want to be on a train at all. That's taking your power back. That's being sovereign. So if something comes up and your mind instantly wants to go into that ego lack mindset, you're able to pause and go, hang on, I'm not going to get on that train of thought. I'm going to come back to my seat of sovereignty. What train of thought am I choosing in this moment? Maybe something came up that seems like, okay, that just happened and now I don't know what to do with that. Well, if you're on the train of thought, you're right. It's going to be really hard to gain that clarity. But if you can come out of the ego mind and come back to that seat, that's where the clarity is. That's where the solutions lie. That's when we say everything you need is inside of you. It comes from sitting in that seat. You will receive everything you need from a clarity standpoint, from a solution standpoint, from understanding and seeing how win-win situations can be created in a scenario where it looks like someone else is going to have to lose in order for you to win. Can actually shift again. For someone to lose in order for you to win, that's classic lack mindset. You can move into that abundance mindset and really see it clearly and see, how can everybody win here? It's a powerful place to be able to live from. And by making that one simple shift, you can invite yourself to be in that seat, to be in that spot in your meditation, and start enjoying meditating. Because now you don't have to feel like you're failing at anything. If you're still catching yourself jumping on trains of thought a lot and you're feeling all of that angst and anxiety within you of like, I'm doing this wrong, this doesn't feel good, I must be messing this up, just know it's just because you're jumping on trains of thought. Come back to that seat. Just sit and observe. That's all you need to do. You don't need to change the thoughts. Just don't become them. Don't attach to them. And from that space of detachment, like I said, that's where the clarity sits. So if you're currently working with something and the clarity is just not there, and maybe you try this out and it's working to some extent, and you're still wrestling with something, maybe there's a train of thought you just constantly find yourself jumping on, and you're not sure how to be able to shift to that space of just being able to observe the thought and not keep jumping on those trains, I invite you to book a clarity call with me. Talk about what's going on, see where that underlying shift can be. There's a really interesting thing about the lack mind, and that is it believes that true peace and calm and clarity don't exist, because in a lack mentality, we're lacking it. And when we're very programmed and conditioned to live from that space, sometimes, especially with things that have been on repeat for a while throughout our lives, it can be hard to connect with that clarity. So on a clarity call, what we'll do is go over different exercises and techniques that may be helpful for you to shift into that space of clarity. It's not really that I'm giving you clarity on these calls. It's more that I'm offering up tools and tips and techniques, and possibly even questioning perspectives so that you can strengthen that ability to receive clarity for yourself and start to see the world maybe a little differently, and as a result, experience life differently. So thank you for tuning in. I hope this video is helpful to you, and I would love to have you subscribe to my channel if you feel that this material is helpful. Maybe you'll check out a few other of my videos. A lot of them follow along the same theme of shifting from the lack mentality, into love and abundance. Feel free to click the like on this video if you liked it, and I hope to see you for the next video. Have a great rest of your day, night, evening, wherever you are. Bye now.